Welcome to Tanakh Talk. I'm your host, William Hall, broadcasting. You can't do that without me doing this. No, stop. You can't stop now. Get it going now. You're full screen. You better start dancing. That's all I got to say. There you go, baby. Another episode of TNT with Rabbi Stuart Federow. Oh, my gosh. Good to have you back, Rabbi. Good to see you.
Good to be back.
All right. I can't believe I always miss you. And right when I click over to catch you, you've stopped at that point. So, yep. Oy. Okay, good deal. Okay, so tonight's catchy little title is not clickbait, just in case you want to accuse us of that later. It's not clickbait because we're...
Well, we can do clickbait if they want. I mean, we'll do whatever they want.
Yeah, no, but this is... So the title, Can You Believe That Christianity Believes and Doesn't Believe? So we're going to cover both aspects of that spectrum. Maybe, obviously, we're not going to be able to cover everything. In fact, we may even miss a lot. But the things we talk about will certainly be legitimate, and then we'll go from there.
Speak for yourself.
Hey. Okay, let's see what we've got here. All right, let's see who's going to tune in here right now. Very good. YouTube is sending out their alerts,
waiting to be able to
alert messages, and then make sure we're actually on.
I used to get like a notification that this was on.
We are live on Facebook and on YouTube. We are hotter than Georgia asphalt. That's what it looks like right now.
Joja, Joja.
Georgia.
That was good.
Did you hear the echo?
No.
You can't hear this echo.
Oh, I can hear that echo.
Oh. All right. Hey, Lori Cash. Good to see you, girl. All right. So here we go. Let's kick this in. There's so many variances and so many directions that really could be gone right now. The very first thing that came to my mind, Rabbi, was this. It was the latter. It was what I can't believe what Christians don't believe. I hear from Christianity all the time, and including from Messianics especially, who tend to really bash the oral law. To a critical way, because they really try to push the agenda that the Messianics are more knowledgeable than the rabbis, and they know when the new moon should be, and they know what color tzitzit should be, and this and this. But then they say they criticize the Orthodox Jews for following the oral Torah. Yet everything that they do is part of oral Torah. The yarmulke is not found in the Torah anywhere. The tzitzit, the way that's designed, what you wear, how the colors, where the color comes from, it's all from that. The lighting of the Shabbos candles, that's all in the oral Torah, and that's the one thing that they critique. Okay, so and Christians,
in order to convince themselves that they're really Jewish, they have to put on the paraphernalia of being a Jew.
Right.
Even at the same time, they insult the rabbis who created it.
Right. Rabbi, I need you to do me a favor. Tap your microphone. That's what I thought. That microphone's not engaged. Tell Skype to...
Yeah, the light's not on. Why is the light on?
There you go.
What happens is
you're going to have to either hook it up or tell Skype to identify that mic.
No.
Oh, I can hear you now. That's good.
Yeah, because the thing was pulled out.
Okay, very good.
It was grabbing a hold of the... Yeah, okay, it's fine now.
Oh, yeah.
Point is fine.
Way better. Right. Much cleaner voice. Okay, good deal. Okay, so going back into the whole thing, so even Christians will criticize the oral law and say it's evil and it's wicked and all this other stuff, but they themselves... They overlook, this falls into the part about what Christians don't believe, which I can't believe that they don't believe. There's traces of the oral Torah all throughout the New Testament. The phylacteries, which is actually the tefillin, Jesus didn't criticize them for wearing them. He criticized them for making them larger than life, trying to make their whatever bigger than everybody else's. There was no critique for wearing them, which means it was, and in fact, there was evidence found in the caves of Qumran, where there was like 12 or 15 sets of tefillin found there. They were wearing tefillin during Jesus' day, and this is a normal practice. Also, the thing like, for example, the Sabbath day's journey, which is actually mentioned in the New Testament, you can't find that in the Hebrew Scriptures. You're going to find that in the oral law. And so there's so many things I can't believe they don't believe. But what I do want to get more into is what they do believe. That's where we're going to need your help.
Either way, both sides, it's the same issue.
Sure.
They at the same time, they don't put their trust in the rabbis. They put their trust in the rabbis. So the mirror image of that is, why don't they believe in the rabbis?
Sure.
Okay, and by the way, if the Pharisees were the only group to survive from 2,000 years ago, then isn't that by God's demand, by God's will?
It was Jesus' will too. Matthew 5. He says, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in the seat of Moses. Therefore, every single thing that they tell you to do, observe and do. Even Jesus taught that. But they reject it. They don't follow Jesus. They actually follow what they think that Paul is teaching. And maybe they're right, but they're not following Jesus.
And they're not following the rabbis who sit in Moses' seat, because the rabbis are developed right out of the Pharisaic community.
Right. Very true.
So it's the mirror image of the same thing.
Yep. Very true.
What always gets me, though, is kind of some obvious things that I can't believe they believe. Okay. That God tells the people of Israel, when they come into the promised land, don't do what the local people do. Don't see how they worship their gods and decide to worship me the same way. And the biblical text is explicitly clear. Why did they lose the land of Israel to the Jews?
Right.
Why did they lose the land? Because they were sacrificing their children to Moloch.
Right.
Okay, it explicitly says that. Okay, their sin, can't remember how it's quoted exactly, and then they turn around and think that God said, oh, forget what I just said. Not only do I want you to do what they did, but it's actually my son I want you to believe in, who died for your sin.
Right.
So first they believe in exactly the opposite of what God preached. Okay, and they think that God changed his mind. I can't believe that Christianity would believe that. And furthermore, forget all religion, forget all the biblical text, forget all the New Testament text. I can't believe that logically they believe that God has to turn himself into a human being, have himself tortured to death, become a sacrifice of himself to himself, and God just can't simply say, I forgive you.
Right.
You know, why wouldn't they believe what the Bible says, that, prayer, repentance, and charity, get you forgiven for your sin?
Right, absolutely.
Yep. So.
Unbelievable. Okay, so good to see some viewers out there. Very nice. And let's see. I'm trying to find a different screen, but I can't get to it right now. That's okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to open the phone lines tonight mainly because I want to stay on point. I want to stay on target for what we're discussing. But I will watch the YouTube chat. So if you guys have something you would like to share with us on these things, give us some ideas of stuff to talk about.
Lori did. Cash did. The whole destined to burn in hell for not following the whole Torah, so I need grace alone. So I asked about the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill. Nope, not good enough.
Okay, good. Okay, so hello, all those people out here. Wow, there's a lot of viewers. Okay, I didn't catch that. So Jew Who Swings Snakes, Lord Cash.
Yeah, I kind of think you're I think
Devin.
Lori is talking about, I can't believe what Christians believe by saying that, including thou shalt not kill. That's what a lot of their translations read, and how they think it reads too.
Right. And it actually means, in fact, I need to actually approve that comment, because Devin actually, I need to show that. So I just approved your comment. So Devin said it should be translated murder, not kill. So that's correct.
And he's right, but that wasn't her point.
Right. But I think for other people who are viewing it might have been on the same trail.
And by the way, Jew Who Swings Snakes is also the one who just said the Talmud is evil. So,
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's okay, though. I mean, here's the thing. Jew Who Swings Snakes, to be fair, I used to think the same thing for several years. It took me 2 or 3 years of research to finally wrap my head around it, and finally realize that it was not evil. It's actually evil because that's what the Christians said it was going to be, and the Messianics said it was evil. And usually most people who come out of Christianity.
No, he says he's joking.
Oh, good. So, okay, good. So for me, I was serious though, dude. I was very adamant against it. I had one of my best friends actually who kept coming to me with all these obnoxious claims. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe the Jewish people believe in the Talmud after all this stuff. I was saying this stuff. And then I went to go research it myself, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not what that means. And that's exactly how that's how it happens. So, very good. Thank you for a Jew who swings snakes. Thanks for clarifying that. Okay, so let me see what I can find here. No. He says, no, I'm joking. Good. This is what they tell me, he says.
Hey,
Very
Ray.
good. Raymond,
Nice
good to
to
see
see
you,
you,
buddy.
too.
Every time I see Raymond out, first thing I do is I look down at my shirt and I realize I'm wearing the wrong shirt. I wore it all day yesterday, and then when I rushed out the studio this morning, because I had like Mondays are busier for me than Sundays are. And that's really weird because Sundays is like my primary day. And I rushed out here real fast, and then, oh, yes, show me what you got. You got your Tanakh Talk shirt? Why aren't you wearing it, mister?
Huh?
You're supposed
Because
to be wearing that. Hold it up higher. I can't see it. Higher. Right there. There's the money shot. Very cool. Brother Raymond, that was awesome. I love my shirt, man. It's actually hanging right over there on my hook inside the studio. I'm sitting here looking back like I think the camera's behind me. It's actually right there. Yes. So It's actually right over there hanging up, and I was going to put it on before the last two shows tonight, but I haven't gotten out of this chair in like 6 hours. It's insane. Anyway, so very good. Okay, so money shot.
By the way, William,
Yes.
I should tell you, speaking of shirts, that by the end of the week, you should be able to cap it all off.
I see where you're headed with that.
Yep.
I see where
I'd
you.
like to know.
Very cool. That'll be some interesting information for some of the select viewers out there. So very good. Okay, so guys, I know you're out there watching in Tanakh Talk land. So what we would like for you to do is to go ahead and give us your brilliance, and let's bring up one topic at a time on things. Oh, it's so much easier to see now.
I'd like to know what they think about. Can you believe that Christianity believes X, Y, Z and doesn't believe ABC?
Right. So, yep. Devin says, "Ooh, fancy, yeah." Okay, good deal. I'm scrolling through the comments here. We have plenty to talk about. I mean, honestly, we could just simply take Rabbi Federow's book. What is it, Judaism and Christianity? Well, we did do a series that was similar to your book.
Yeah, we did the series. I like the idea of continuing with "Can you believe that Christianity believes?"
Yeah. Okay, so let's get this right here. Okay, so first things first. Only because my son and daughter brought it up today during homeschool. They're in curriculum. Their curriculum. They have to do Bible as part of the curriculum. It's Mennonite, and I don't really care because I know how to teach them everything they need to know. It could be Catholicism. I don't care. I can teach them the right to go along with it, right? So they're studying this stuff, and the thing that they're going through are the sacred sacraments, right? Eat my flesh and drink my blood. Let's start there. That's a great place. Not just Catholicism, but every single church I've ever been to has the little wafer and the grape juice, symbolic of eating the flesh and drinking the blood of Jesus. Now, here's the thing: in ancient world everything, even with other in the Mayans and all these other cultures, they believe when you hunt and you kill a deer, you should eat the heart of a deer because you take on the nature and the characteristics of that deer, right? And so everything about the idea of drinking the blood and eating the flesh, period, especially of a human, much less a clean animal, much less an unclean animal, is completely an abomination. It's like completely disgusting. You would never ever say that to a Jew. That is in my opinion, that's one of the worst things they could have ever put in the New Testament. And then to criticize the Jews for even the ignorant Jews for not following this thing. I'm like, why would they even think that would be something that's acceptable? It would be like me going into a relationship with my wife, knowing that she hates adultery and knowing everything that she completely despises. And then I plead to her one day, I said, I'm going to stay married to you for the rest of your life, but you have to take this picture of my ex-wife and put it over your whatever, and really go to that area of her sensitivity that violates everything she believes in, and then expect her to accept it and then criticize her for rejecting it. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I don't get it. And the moment of silence.
Well, I'm just, what's there to say to that?
Okay, carry on.
Okay.
Andrea, sorry you're late. What do you want me to fire you? You're like one of the best not paid employees of Tanakh Talk. Andrea Weinberg, you're awesome. Okay, very good. Yasmin Coates, good to see you as well. Devin Alg ALG 11297. Michael Orlin, again Raymond Reef, my dear brother. Dude, I love your house and I love your fishing hole. That's all I got to say about that. It's not really a hole, it's more like a fishing half of your property. Oh, man. Got the double dose of the river and a lake all in one whack. Okay, so, all right. So, Rabbi, what's on your mind?
Well, let's see. How about, I can't believe that they believe that even though the Bible repeatedly contrasts God with humans, that they combine the human with God. They say either God became a human or human was God. You know, they say Jesus was completely human and completely God, coming straight out of pagan idolatry of the Greco-Roman world. I find that amazing that they believe that.
So in Deuteronomy, why am I typing on the wrong keyboard again? Dadgummit. It's really weird getting used to all this stuff. So I believe it's in Deuteronomy. I thought it was in 6. I could be wrong. However, the point still stands. The scripture that comes to mind on what you're saying now is that I appeared to you, I did not appear to you as, I want to say as human. I'm having to paraphrase because I got to find the actual verse. I'm going to read it to you, and then if for those of you who have never heard the verse before, need to go back and read your New Testament, Old Testament, sorry, and actually, or Hebrew Scriptures as this properly called, and really start looking for these verses that tell you what you can and can't do when it comes to worshiping our Creator. And one of them is, I did not appear to you as a man lest you worship that thing, right? And the commandments are, do not make for yourself any image of the things in heaven, things in the earth, things below this in the sea, anything. You can't make images of anything, and actually use that as an thing to worship. So how Christianity has adopted a man figure, and even on top of that, the means by which he was executed. This is not to be funny. We've talked about it before. This is a major point. If Jesus was killed with a shotgun, would Christians wear a shotgun around their neck?
There's a very famous routine.
It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
There's a very famous routine by Lenny Bruce, 1950s, for which he got a lot of flack, but he does a whole routine on this issue, and he was talking about the electric chair, saying the same thing, that the cross was the instrument of the death penalty by Rome, and what happens if they did it today from the United States? Would they wear electric chairs around their necks?
Exactly.
Basically the same idea that you were saying, but it's Lenny Bruce actually has a whole long routine regarding this.
Right. That's exactly my point. Let me see. I found a verse. I need to look it up and make sure this is the one. So bear with me one second. And I'm looking at Deuteronomy 4:19, I believe. Let me check that out and see if that's what I'm thinking of. 4:18 maybe. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Take therefore good heed unto yourselves, for you saw no manner. This is the one.
Yep.
Baruch Hashem. Man, if a Christian is watching or heard anything on this channel in the past 6 years, this verse I would really pray that you would really pay attention to. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 15 through 18, 19, right? It says, take ye therefore good heed to yourselves, for you saw no manner of similitude, nothing similar on the day that the Lord spoke to you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest you corrupt yourselves and make yourself a graven image, the similitude, anything similar of any figure, the likeness of male or female. That's not talking about a donkey or a fish. It's talking about a human. the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flies in the air, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth, unless you lift up your eyes unto heaven, and when you seest the sun and the moon and the stars and all the heavenly host, you should be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God has divided unto all the nations under the whole heaven. If this, to me, this one verse alone should be the only verse I ever need to ever bring forth to a Christian. It's the only one I would ever need, no matter what they got to say. This right here should be the grand slam, the Babe Ruth of all pitches right here. I said Babe Ruth of pitches. People who know both baseball know I just kind of screwed that one up. Babe Ruth of all grand slams right here. There you go. So that's my short take on that one. Deuteronomy 4, verse 15 is where it starts. So remember that, 4:15.
Right. And by the way, it's a very interesting concept because it indicates our Jewish view of other religions. Basically, we don't care what they believe. We don't care what they do. Just leave us the heck alone.
Right.
But the text that you just read in Deuteronomy 4 explicitly says that God divided this up for the other nations.
Right.
Okay? God gave them their idolatry. They can have it. Not you, you're Jewish.
Right.
You have God. You don't need soothsaying and astrology, and you don't need all this other occult stuff. They can have it. I gave it to them. It's theirs, not yours. You're Jews.
Right. So on the show yesterday that I had, somebody asked a question about is it an obligation for a Noahide or even a Jew who has Christians friends or Christian family, are they obligated to teach them Torah? And my answer was definitely not. I mean this right here would confirm that even more. This is what they do. I mean, you're not forbidden to teach them, but it's not going to be beneficial for you to reach out to them if they're not open to it anyway. So we got into.
What do I disagree with that one?
Oh, really? So you think that
let me put it this way. Okay. It's not your obligation to teach them.
Right.
It's not your obligation to, hey, sit down. I want to show you something.
Right.
Okay. But if they come to you, if they start asking you questions.
Oh no, that's totally different though. That's completely different. I'm talking about involuntary, like unsolicited information. If you just go to them,
I don't want it done to me. I'm not going to do it to them.
Right. It would be equivalent as taking a flashlight in the dark and walking up to somebody who's also walking in the dark. You've got the light, but instead of shining it in their path, you shine it right in their eyes. It's going to blind them. It's not going to help them at all. You have to wait for them to ask for it. Once they ask for it, that's when you just give it. You give them everything you want to give them. So I totally agree. Okay.
All right. So we do have questions, on the chat.
Oh, let's do this.
Okay. Well, first of all, where does it say in the Christian Bible that Jesus was born on December 25th? Why is there a celebration?
Great
they must have
one.
had their own Talmud.
Very good one. Very good one.
Actually, very good. William, you want to respond?
Sure. Well, first of all, and I think this is part of where I think that I agree more with Messianics on this view, because they understand certain concepts. I didn't say I agree with them completely on everything. There's a few things that I agree with them on. This is one of them. The concept of Jesus being born in the wintertime, just in the plain concept of the holy days, doesn't make sense anyway. It would have been more in the late fall, right? So right around, they're pinning Sukkot, and I understand the whole concept because you got 8 days of Sukkot. There are first 7 days, and you have an 8th day celebration. They say, well, what do you think the 8th day was for? It was for the circumcision. It's clever. It's definitely a very clever, put together of a piece of puzzle that you could make something out of something that wasn't there. But it's definitely more in tune than what the Christians believe in the birthday of so many other pagan gods, the winter solstice, right? And that's his. So why would God, after he said, do not worship me in the same way that other nations worship their gods, allow his son to have the same birthday as these other gods? That's just the tip of the iceberg, and you've taught me way more than I remember. So carry on, Rabbi, take it away.
All right. So we have another question about. By the way, I also like Michael's point about they must have their own Talmud. And Christianity clearly has their own oral tradition,
They
their own
absolutely do. And
systematic way of interpreting their scripture.
listen, it's not just a Talmud, it's a very specific Talmud. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Not really.
It's called the Strong's Concordance. They put their life on it.
Yes, they do.
They put their life on that.
The Strong's is, in my personal opinion, very sleazy.
Not very strong. Right.
You go to the old
Right.
Strong Concordances, the one that are about that thick, okay? And they have exactly one and only one translation of Alma as virgin, which just happens to be Isaiah 7:14. So people were complaining that says, come on, you're going to say that it means virgin only one time out of all the times it's used? So then subsequent Strong Concordances would add one more place where they translate Alma as virgin, so that you cannot say the only place that they have it as being virgin is Isaiah 7:14. It's like decades of Strong Concordance with Alma only in one place meaning virgin, and then after a point, then they all have at least two. Isaiah 7:14 and Genesis 30 something, 34, I don't remember. Okay, so AIG 11297, can you explain the origin of the term tikkun olam?
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Okay, you have touched a chip on my shoulder.
Okay.
To answer your question, okay, the concept of tikkun olam is mentioned in the Mishnah. Okay, oldest part of the Talmud. Okay, speaking of Talmud. Okay, it's mentioned in excuse me.
So why are you coughing? I'm asking for Andrea and for myself.
I'm coughing because I have severe allergies.
Okay.
That give me what my doctor calls seasonal asthma.
Okay, gotcha. Just want to make sure you're safe.
I am safe as best I can, but the seasonal asthma does make me at risk.
Okay,
so,
gotcha. Well, you better
just...
Right.
Yeah, this is why I have my caffeine-free Diet Coke. God's nectar.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, so tikkun olam is a concept that goes back to the Mishnah. Okay, and there, let's see. Your basic meaning would be something like...
repair the world.
No. That's just...
No, really?
No, it's... literally, it means fixing or repairing the universe, the world.
Well, that's what I said.
Okay?
Yeah.
But in its oldest use, it actually didn't mean something exactly like that. Okay.
Okay.
And you're going to ask me what it does mean. I'm not quite sure I could really give you an example. I don't remember anymore, frankly. Okay, but it's not quite the same thing as fixing or repairing the world. I'll think of it.
By the way, Raymond Reef says...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Raymond Reef says to drink pineapple juice for your cough.
Really? Oh, I love pineapple.
I do too. I'm glad to know that. I'm going to try that next time for sure. Okay, go ahead.
Really?
1-2 says
hey,
Hillel...
I'll try anything.
1-2 on YouTube says Hillel coined the phrase tikkun olam.
So, okay, have you ever heard B'nai Darkei Shalom? Okay.
No, but it makes sense though, Derek.
You do something because it's for the sake of peace.
Right.
Okay, Mipnei Darkei Shalom.
Right.
Okay, it's a phrase that means doing something because it brings people to peace.
Right.
It's not necessarily what you want to do, but it's what you should do, because if it makes peace between people, just do it and go on.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
This is another kind of saying. Okay. So mipnei tikkun olam is the Mishnah, and it means like for the sake of public policy.
Okay.
Okay. In the interest of the general community. Okay. The best thing for everybody would be to do this. Okay, mipnei tikkun olam. Okay, so that's Mishnaic. You find the term I apologize. I'm really sorry.
It's okay.
You also find the term tikkun olam in a form of Kabbalah, where it's the Kabbalah that says that when God created the universe, okay, there was a kind of holy light in certain holders, receptacles, okay. But when in this Kabbalistic idea, okay, when God receded and let the universe have room to exist, okay, these holders, these containers shattered, and these things of holiness are all over, and you have to, go and get them and free them from the physical world, okay, and that's what is meant by tikkun olam, repairing the world, because the containers were broken, and you have to set it right. So that's a different use of tikkun olam. Okay. Now, if you take a look at the Aleinu, okay, found in virtually every main service that we do, okay, the phrase tikkun olam is there. Okay, and the technical phrasing in the modern usage of the term is not tikkun olam. The phrase is tikkun olam b'malchut Shaddai. And if you take a look at the text, okay, of the, what would you call it, the second or third, fourth paragraph of the Aleinu, okay. We therefore hope in you, O God, that we may soon behold the glory of your might, when you will remove the abominations from the earth, when all idolatry will be abolished. We hope for the day when the world will be perfected under or through the sovereignty of God. Okay, so repairing the world through the rule of God, using the rule of God to repair the world, is really the phrase. And it always interests me that when they cut off the God part, okay, tikkun olam instead of tikkun olam b'malchut Shaddai, it's like disconnecting God to the commandment of repairing the world. Okay,
right.
And this is something I harp on when people say tikkun olam this, tikkun olam that. I always have to be obnoxious and say, excuse me, what's the whole phrase? And they'll say tikkun olam, and I'll say, no, it isn't. And it's in the prayer book. It's right. It's
okay.
it's in the prayer book.
Okay, so I want to take this tikkun olam to a different level.
Okay.
Okay, so in Christianity, it teaches that Jesus is going to coming back to save everybody from the world. It's going to actually fix everything, right? But isn't the idea of the Messianic era going to be the Messiah is not going to come until the world is already repaired?
Well, there are two different schools of thought on that.
Let's hear them.
Okay, one is that the world has to be perfected by people to, make the Messiah come.
Hence tikkun olam, right?
Hence tikkun olam b'malchut Shaddai. Term is not tikkun olam. The term is tikkun olam b'malchut Shaddai.
Okay, gotcha. That's what you mean.
Okay. I'm going to harp on that, William.
No, you should. That's
okay.
Fine. Yeah.
All right. And the other concept is that the world gets so bad that the Messiah comes.
Okay, so
there's two different schools of thought, so to speak.
So where does the second school of thought come from?
Well, that when the world gets so bad, God thinks, this is really bad enough. I really have to do something now.
Okay, but where does it come from?
Remember something. The Jews were in slavery for 430 years or 200 and whatever. Depends on which, how you want to look at that. But the Jews were slaves for a long time before God acted.
Right, but what I mean is, are we talking Hillel Shammai, or are we talking about something else? Two different schools of thought from who?
It could be Hillel. I don't remember who.
Okay.
Okay. I don't remember who the disagreement was between, or if there was just different schools of thought. One group thought this, one group thought that. So I really couldn't tell you.
Okay. Well, that'll lead me into the next point. Okay, so the next point is going to be, Jesus said, Arnold Schwarzenegger's favorite line. I'll be back.
I'll be back.
So, I know that's funny, but I really mean that sincerely, though. So Jesus had all these things that he was supposed to do according to the Hebrew Scriptures. And so it was almost like he handpicked all the things that you couldn't prove to do first to get you to believe in him, and then all the things that needed to be proved later, which you can't prove, you can't falsify.
Right.
And so, but the thing is, even the ones that he says he fulfilled, or even the New Testament says that he fulfilled, as it turns out, he didn't only fulfill a few of them. He didn't fulfill any of them, not even a single one.
Right. And I can't believe that Christianity believes that Jesus did what he's supposed to do. Then why did they have a concept called the second coming?
Right.
Why don't they say, since he never did anything that's part of the Messianic era, okay, nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn anymore, the end of idolatry, universal recognition that God is God.
Everyone shall know from the least to the greatest of them.
There's a whole laundry list. Okay, why don't they believe that Jesus didn't fulfill it and couldn't have been the Messiah? So yes, there's that. There's definitely that too.
Right.
Okay. By the way, just real quick, Devin writes, the cult of Mithras predated Christianity and had the same idea, dying, saving, man God.
Oh, nice. Yeah, sure.
And Devin, I just want to add something. You probably know this already, but I'll remind you of it. And that is Paul was Saul of Tarsus. Tarsus, the city on the Mediterranean, guess who their patron god was and appears on their money? Mithras.
Well,
so it shows that Paul would be far more, it shows why Paul was far more knowledgeable of the cult of Mithras than he was about Judaism. Okay, and when he creates the idea of dying, saving, man God, okay, he's just basically echoing what he knew best, which was Mithraism.
Right.
So I just thought you'd find that interesting. That go look at the coins printed by by Tarsus.
Right.
The ancient coins. Okay, and you'll see that there are Mithras coming out of the rock.
Right.
You know, like Jesus resurrected out of the rock.
Okay, 1:2 says, quoting from Hillel, we can modify, maybe not a quote, but paraphrase, we can modify a Torah law to save a life. Tikkun olam, Hillel. Okay, so we know that there's two forms of thought. There was Hillel and Shammai. Hillel was the more lenient, and Shammai was the more stringent. And so that makes sense, because there's so many things with the Torah that has to have an oral explanation. There's no way you could do so much of the Torah if you didn't have an oral Torah, and you were even if you were an atheist and you said, I want to believe in God today, and you go back and read the entire Tanakh. I can't call it the Old Testament, the entire Tanakh, and you say, well, I want to just read the Torah, and you want to live strictly by the Torah and exactly what it says, only it is impossible, because there are a few things you might be able to kind of wean through, but there's so many things that require explanation. This is why Christians have the Strong's Concordance. They have to look up terms. There are 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different things on your body that could be the orlah. The orlah translates to at least 3 different things. Anyway, the pointy part of the loose skin of your elbow, your earlobe, and then of course the one we all know is the accurate one. But how do you know this, right? And so they have to have something, an oral tradition to go by. You can't just keep Torah, right? And so,
well, and I would argue that every single religion on planet Earth has text, their main holy text, and every text isn't completely explanatory of what's in the text.
Right.
So you have to develop a systematic way to understand what's in your holy text.
Right.
Okay. So
I almost look at the Torah like it's a combination lock. It's like Hashem shows you, this is the lock of the Jews, but they actually have the combination on how things. There's oral law. That's the combination. We see the numbers. Oh, you see this lock that's got like the spinner dial that's got all these different numbers on. Oh yeah, this is great. We have the actual lock, Baruch Hashem, but you can't get into it. The only way you can get into it is if you know how the combination works, and that's where the oral law comes in. Same thing with when you go to school for law, or to go to school to be a doctor. They teach you all the stuff in books, and I've talked to several doctors in the past 10 years, and they said, it was really good going to school. And I'm gonna bring this even closer to home for me. I have this software for what I do for music, and it's called Pro Tools, and it's basically a music recording software. I have a friend of mine. His name is Jet Strobel, and he actually went to school for 2 years, paid like $6,000 to go 2 years of school to learn how to do Pro Tools or some. It was a ridiculous amount of money. It might have been $6,000, but it was a lot for me anyway. And then he says when he was finally done and he got down, and he had his software and his studio was all set up. He went in and he goes, I was completely lost. He goes, I got there and he goes, I had to go and talk to other people on how to do this and this and this. They told you the basics. But to actually put it into practice, you had to find someone else who was doing it and get advice from them to show them what they meant by this. You can learn it and memorize it all you want to, but putting it into practice is something different. Same with law school. Same with medical school. The whole thing is that's why they have people go in to, I forget the right term, Rabbi, for people who are they're practicing what they learned in school as a surgeon or whatever, I can't remember, in stewardship, I don't know what it's called. But the thing is, you have to have something. You have to have some sort of practice outside of the written thing to explain those things that are written. And that's just common sense. That's common sense. I have the same thing with my workshop, right? I can tell my son one thing. I can tell him, I say, David, you go out to my shop, get my miter saw, take this 2x4, put it on the mark, and cut it at 24 inches. I tell that same thing to my wife. She has no clue what the hell I just said.
I got news for you. Neither would I.
But the point is, you have to have an oral something to go with the actual instructions.
Right.
To make it work.
Because the instructions are not always clear, and therefore you have to interpret it. Okay. You will write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates. What's them? What is the them that you're supposed to write on the doorposts of your house?
Right.
So you have to use your head and interpret what that refers to, and that becomes your oral tradition of how to interpret that verse. Mm-hmm. And every religion has to have that, because not every verse in every religion's scripture is going to be clear. For Christianity, my example is baptism. It never says how he baptizes. It just says he came up out of the water.
Right.
Bathtub can be this full, and you could say Jesus came up out of the water in the bathtub. So it doesn't have to be, the way they say it is.
Right. Absolutely.
So, at any rate.
Same thing goes with the Sabbath day's journey. What we talked about earlier, something that's found in the oral tradition. How far, how far your community lines are. How far you can walk to a synagogue on the Sabbath day. This sort of thing. It's like you can't just figure this stuff out on your own. I mean, you can, but you're writing your own oral law. You're going to write your own Talmud, despite that one that's already been given thousands of years ago.
Yeah. Yasmin writes.
Matthew Seitz, good to see you, brother.
I'm sorry, go ahead. What?
I was just saying hey to Matthew Seitz, also Cincy Litigator. Good to see you, Miriam. It's good to see you as well. Cinderella. That's cute. Cinderella. I like that. All right. In the deliberate, don't know who you are, but the message was retracted, so I'm looking forward to your further comments. Let's see, who else did I miss? I think we covered a handful of them. Rabbi, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that I got to find it again. Yasmin or Mina Coates. Exactly, Andrea. It's no wonder studies last year found that more people who attend church are obese than those who don't. I would add mental distress and mental abuse to the list of what it causes. I'm not sure what she's responding to, but now I understand why I attend synagogue so much.
That's funny. She reminds me of something very, very interesting, though. So Christianity teaches, in fact, I think Rabbi Skobac really nailed this hard last night. It was amazing how Christianity teaches how Jesus is what gives you the power over sin and death. But Christians struggle with sin more than the Jewish people do. The Jewish people are way more faithful when it comes to sin than what the Christian. I mean, there is so much fornication and so much marrying the preacher's daughter, and they're sleeping with so and so, or divorcing this and divorcing that, and just no restraints whatsoever. I mean, I've seen this myself. I mean, I've witnessed, I won't even mention the latest one that I've witnessed because I don't want to, but it was so blew my mind. I was thinking, are you guys really doing this right now? And I was like, holy cow. So if Jesus really did his deed to let you overcome sin. Now, why do you still have a struggle with sin? You're supposed to be these superhuman, super spiritual beings that are like tzaddiks that walk on water. Theoretically, you're raising the dead. Like you said one time, you've got so much healing power because you're so holy. Why aren't you in the hospitals healing people?
Yeah.
Right? So, more issues.
Uh-oh.
Yasmin says it was responding to Andrea's comment how Christian doctrines create dependency and teaches no one can do anything themselves. She said no wonder they feel cruddy. All right, very good. Okay, let's see what else. You said uh-oh for what?
Do what?
You said uh-oh, and then I interrupted you.
Oh, no. I was responding to... Actually, I thought your mic went dead. So.
Can you hear me okay?
Fine.
Okay, good.
Not a problem.
Very good. Cool. All right. Super duper, man. Very cool. Okay, so,
I was responding to Andrea's comment of how Christian doctrine creates dependency and teaches no one can do anything themselves. No wonder they feel cruddy, and you're totally right. She's totally right. Yep.
Okay, so Rabbi,
they convince you have an illness you don't have, and then tell you that they're the only ones with the cure for what you don't have.
Yes. Okay, Rabbi.
That's how I was worded.
So I'm going to do something real quick, and I don't ever do this, but I think I'm going to because it's a tool that helps me move along. If you're okay with it. Sure. My daughter, my oldest daughter, she's 26, and her and her husband live with us. They've been here for about 7 years now. But told them they can stay here till like 50 if they want. I don't care. Anyway, she thought it'd be kind of clever. Because she knows how we are with our finances here in the building and stuff. So she said, hey, you know what you should do? You should have this thing, and it's called Buy Me a Cup of Coffee. And I'm like, what is that? And so she showed it to me. So she actually came into my studio and set this thing up. So I'm going to put this link up here again. And basically, it's basically called buymeacoffee.com. And so she created this thing for me. And it's handy because, see, a lot of people think that what I do here is either free, or they think that people who do productions are very wealthy. This is why they're able to do this, and they don't need any money. Okay, that's the furthest thing from the truth, guys. I could totally use all your help. Trust me. I could use Rabbi Federow's help, but unfortunately, he could use my help too. So we'll get into that later. So point being, I just put a link up again, and it basically says, hey guys, please consider if you think this broadcast is worth a cup of coffee, you can buy me a cup here. It's very simple. It's just
but with all that coffee, how do you translate that into paying your light bill?
It's not an actual cup of coffee. It's a virtual cup of coffee. Basically, it's like a donation worth the value of a cup of coffee. Okay, so if they
McDonald's coffee or Starbucks coffee?
Definitely Starbucks.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a $5 cup of coffee. You can buy 1, 2, 3. You can buy 50. You can buy 1,000 of them. But it's just a quick link thing that you can pick on. And the thing is, if you really do appreciate these videos, I mean, I can tell you, I paid like $10, $9.95 to watch a Netflix movie that I was so disappointed in. It was not edifying at all. I spend money on a daily basis buying stuff that you shouldn't be buying. Like soda pops, and which I don't drink sodas, but I do drink a lot of coffee. And so anyway, it's easier to handle something in small bits than it is something big. Anyway, that was my daughter. I really want to give props to her, Jessica. She is such a sweetheart, and she was really looking out for it. And so, I'm recording right now. Okay, thanks. And so, anyway, so that it's up there, guys. So if that's something you want to take advantage of, that's great. I'd appreciate it very much. So, Rabbi?
What?
No, we're moving on.
Okay. To what?
To whatever you want to move on to. We got about 12 minutes left in the hour.
Okay.
And then, so we can follow on with more topics here. Let's see what's going down here. So.
Yes. The devil made me do it.
Decaf, mocha, frappuccino, cappuccino, Devon. Actually, if it was a real coffee, it would probably be a black coffee. That's it.
Could it be Satan?
That's funny. Let's see. Here we go. Nick Mooney. Okay. So church lady. Yeah, that was funny.
By the way, did you know why Starbucks never really made it in Israel?
No, why?
Because they're already used to the finest coffees in the world.
Oh.
Because everybody who emigrated to Israel brought their coffees with them, because you have Turkish coffee, which is a very rich kind of coffee because what do they want with the Starbucks for? They couldn't make a living. They all closed up.
Wow, gotcha.
Yep, they tried. They came to Israel to try, but the Israelis are not going to bother with a Starbucks kind of coffee.
No kidding. And to be
That's what I
fair,
read.
to be fair, Rabbi Singer sent me a bag of coffee from Indonesia, and of course he's from the island of coffee in that whole, in that side of the world. And I got to tell you, that was some pretty good stuff, man. That was better than any coffee I had around here. So true. Yep.
Yes. So it shouldn't surprise you that kind of like.
Jewish things
to get off the ground.
Jewish things. He said Turkish coffee is a drug. I love it.
I never really developed a taste for coffee until I had cold coffee, iced coffee.
Yuck. I can't go there.
I know, but I can do coffee if it's cold. I can't do hot drinks.
That's like unsweet tea. How do you
hot tea, hot coffee, hot chocolate's too hot. I burn myself every time.
I understand. That's cool. That works. So, okay, good.
Yep.
Good. Oh man.
Illegal. How could you say that? Frappuccinos at Starbucks. Java chip frappuccinos.
Yeah,
you,
Tracy Dyer says I like cold coffee too. Look, my wife likes likes unsweet tea, and to me that's the same as cold coffee. I just can't do that. I just can't. I can't do it. Maybe I could if I tried, but
either. Sweetened with milk in it or something.
Cinderella says now I want coffee.
All right, well, you want to call it a night?
Yeah, that was a fun show, man. This is one of these things we could do 10 of these shows and never run out of stuff to talk about.
Well, and there's so much more that Christianity believes in. I can't believe they believe that, but you know the old saying: one man's theology is another man's belly laugh.
Interesting.
I know it's not very nice, but I still think it's true.
Right, I got you. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, it has been fun. Guys, if you don't have Rabbi's book, Judaism and Christian, I'm turning his mic down because I know he's going to object here. Hang on. Can you hear me, Rabbi? I see you clapping, but you can't talk because I just muted your butt. So, Judaism and Christianity at Contrast is on your screen. WhatJewsBelieve.org, great. Jewish Mission Control, I'll turn him up in a minute to find out if it's back active again. If it's not, it doesn't matter. If you use your phone and go to Jewish Mission Control on your phone through a website and save it, just bookmark that page as a bookmark website, it will function just like the cell phone app.
But it's What Jews Believe.
That's what I said, whatjewsbelieve.org. Right. Did I not say that right?
Well, you said Jewish Mission Control. So.
No, that was your
the old one, yeah.
That was the app.
Yep.
Right.
I miss my app.
Oh, I miss your app too. Okay, so I'm turning you back down so you can't talk. Okay. No, because I know you're going to say, no, let's talk about you. Now this is about Rabbi Federow. Okay, so that app is really, really clever. It's really cool. Basically, when you go to the website, there's all these questions and they're hyperlinks. You can click on every question. It'll take you straight to answers that are going straight to text of Scripture. And that's a really handy thing. But you can also find his book, Judaism and Christianity, A Contrast, on that website as well as on Amazon.com. If you don't have those books, you should get them for sure. And in just a second, I'm going to tell you about a few more books that you should have. But first, I'm going to say I love you to Rabbi Stuart Federow for being such an amazing person in my life for sure, and a great tzaddik, and I really appreciate you. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you same time, same place here next week, Hashem willing. And so until then, you guys have a great week and Shavua Tov. Rabbi, finger dance.
See y'all later.
Finger dance. We need it. Come on, you got this.
I can't hear it.
Oh, what do you mean you can't hear it?
I mean, I can barely hear you like you're 1,000 miles away.
Can you hear that now?
No.
Are you serious? Wow, well, it's there. Okay, I'll have to make sure I figure out how that next time. But I know they can hear it because I can see the meters bumping. So thank you guys. We'll see you soon. Shalom, shalom, everybody. Peace.
חשוב מכל חשוב והכרחי להיות ביחד